Today, this is Teacher Sarahs and welcome to my channel. So it's been a long time that we've been discussing about educational things that can help, especially to those taking the board exam. During these times, brought by the pandemic, so the 5 learning theories are innovating. So instead of 5, so we will discuss 7 theories, all of them. So that's why we will divide it into 7 lessons. So today, we will discuss about the cognitive learning theory. As we all know, the cognitive learning theory, it talks about the human mind, or it simply talks about thinking. So that's why both influence internal and external forces of learning. So as we all know, that there are two main philosophers that the one who propose the proponents of cognitive learning theory. So during the classical era, first one is Plato, and then the second one is Descartes. So Plato and Descartes talks about the importance of thinking during learning. So that's why they are the let's say that the first to introduce the cognitive learning theory. So during the classical era. But in modern day theory of cognitive learning theory, Jean Piaget is also known about cognitive, especially his work focuses on environment, internal structures on how they impact learning. That's why internal thoughts and external forces is a great impact or an important part of the cognitive learning theory. So students learn because of their understanding of their thought process. The lesson can help them learn. Learning theorists propose teachers to ask questions, to loud out, and also to make students feel a bit of failure so that they can cope up and they can boost their understanding, boost their thought processing. So in order for them to understand the lesson, this is that no problem can withstand the assault of sustained thinking. So aking ulitin, no problem can withstand the assault of sustained thinking. That's why the strategies of cognitive learning theory is first asking questions. Um, because dahil asking questions can help students to think more, especially during the oral examination. Second, having opportunities to make errors. So that's why during the lesson proper, so the cognitive theorists or the cognitive psychologists advise teachers to ask questions. So during discussions, in order upang ang students is part ng learning process. That is first. Second, the students can exercise their thinking process so that if palagi nilang magagamit ang kanila thinking process, so mas madali nilang matutunan ang lesson dahil they are involved or they are included so during the learning process, and also it can boost their self-confidence also in cooperating. So during discussions, the more cooperative the students, or the more the thinking process is involved, so during learning process, the more the students will understand the discussion. So kaya importante ang pag orals, executing oral questions so during the lesson proper. Next is fostering self-reflection in self-questioning. So this is to help them understand their mental process. So kaya teachers should have a self-reflection. So especially if you are in self-review. So after the day, so meron kang isusulat na self reflection journal. So it can help you na kung ano ang mga failures ng iyong plano sa bawat araw. So especially in studying the board exam. And then the second one, what are the positive and negative ones? So upang sa bukas, so through your self-reflection, merong correction sa mga mali na iyong na gawa. So during the learning process, especially self-review is very difficult. So because you need to cope up with environment. So magpupursige ka sa iyong sarili. So you need to mas pursige, kumakayod ka, maghanap ng learning resources, especially if you are in self-review. So kaya self-reflection and self-thinking is important so that you can um, you can test your mental process. And then the third one is the last one is thinking aloud. So what is thinking aloud? So that is making suggestions that help students think about. So that's why during the field study and also during the practicum times, so you need to think aloud. So you need to correct students if they share wrong informations. But you don't need to be pranked. So nasasabihin mali yung sagot mo. So, but instead of doing that, so kasi if we will talk about mali yung sagot mo, so it can give negative thoughts of the students na hindi na sila gustong sumali or to join so during the learning process. So kaya instead of using negative comments, you need to say nice try, good, so that is the things. But after that, so you need to correct. So the comment, you need to correct. So those things na isinare ng yung estudyante, especially if it is wrong. So that's why we need to think aloud. So kaya nga during discussions, merong ibang tao dyan na nag-aaral na maingay. So he or she discuss um, so nag-aaral siya mag-isa, but he or she discuss it. So because thinking aloud can help. So vocalizing, so through vocalization, so mas maintindihan mo yung sagot. So you can boost self-confidence. So if you will share it, so instead of sharing it to others, kasi meron tayong pandemic ngayon, so you need to share it to yourself. So kaya thinking aloud is very important. So these activities is involved so as a part of the cognitive learning theory. First is memorizing. First is memorizing. Second is recalling. Third is demonstrating. Fourth is explaining. And then the last one is creating. So I do hope that you learned something about so about cognitive learning theory. So if you need to watch more, so don't forget to hit the bell button so that you will be updated to our future videos. This is Teacher Cyrus and thanks for watching.